Hello, it's Jesse here, and we're going to work on restoring a rear brake, mechanical rear brake for my 1940 UH. So this is going to be a segment on all 1938 to 1957 rear brake assemblies. So, because in 58 they changed to hydraulic brakes, so this will be just a one for the mechanical brake. And what a mechanical brake is a brake system that uses mechanical advantage to stop, to function. So anyways, it's a lot like semis. It takes a cam here that twists and pushes the brake shoes outward against the drum and stops it. So like I was saying, like on semis though, they have a thing called an S cam, and it's air operated. It's mechanical though, but it functions with air by operating the air brake drum, and then it then pushes on a lever which turns the S cam, which is the same principle as this mechanical brake is. So anyway, back to this. Yeah, let's get started here. All right, so here's my photocopied original parts print here, so I can highlight stuff. This is a little key thing for me, so I knew what kind of parts to get for my front brake when I was going to put it together. So of course we have the backing plate, hardware to hold the pivot assembly on, and the actuating cam, a copper brass washer, and then there's a picture of the bushing, which I got in here already, and the lever and the hardware to hold it on. So all the brakes that I've been able to see in this Palmer book are supposed to be painted black. I think chrome plating was more of an option kind of a thing when I got later, but I believe that most of the stuff from my era was supposed to be all black and Parkerized. So according to some of the history that he's put together here in his awesome book that he's got. So anyways, we're going to get going here with this, and yeah, anyways, so let's go over some of the parts here. So this is an original rear brake backing plate. Now why it's original is because you can see these rivets here. This has been repainted. I repainted it a while back, and yeah, anyway, now it's ready to go together because I got all this stuff, and I'm getting to the point where I can actually put it together now with my bike. So anyways, like I was saying, according to the Palmer book, it describes the backing plates. There's like 3 different styles to look for, or what you need to look for if you're putting one of these together. We'll go over it quick. The 36 style here on top has a big part right here that's riveted on. It's got the part that mounts to the frame. This goes into the rear part of the frame and locks it so it doesn't rotate, because you don't want this thing rotating when you hit the brakes. And this one here is a little bit different. This is the 37 style. There's then it talks about how many rivets are here, and this little wedged piece here, trapezoid piece, it is different shaped than this one over here. So this one here is the 38 to 57 style. So that's what makes mine the 38 to 57 style. Because see how this piece is the narrower one, and of course, like the rivets, like I was saying, a lot of the reproduction ones you can find, you can't see these original rivets, and this kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a key component. I'm lucky I got one of these. So anyways, especially a good one here. A lot of people like to chrome plate these, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's not supposed to be chrome. So anyway, luckily this was a black one. I repainted it black. I forgot I cleaned up, and then put new bushing in, and now we're ready to build it. So over here is the actuating lever, Parkerized. This is the top plate for the pivot. It's got teeth on the back side here, so it grips into the mounting plate, or the backing plate here. And a couple different cups here, which lock into here on this when it's ready to go together here like that. And it works, and it pivots there. the hardware to hold all this together. There's our brass washer. This is actually copper, I believe, but this is the washer there. And then the pivot pin. Yep, and then the springs to hold for the shoe springs. The cam, the actuating cam. It says outside, that points to the outside of the brake assembly. You'll see that coming up when I'm putting it together. And then hardware to hold this on. So just here together on. Anyway, I got it marked out here so I get like a quick reference point so I knew what they were for after it sat for so long. But anyways, yeah. So first off, we'll start off by putting the cam in, I believe, here. So stay tuned. Alright, so we'll get started here. We'll start off by putting in a brand new cadmium plated grease zerk in this lower actuating shaft lever bushing housing here. And just simply thread this in there like so. There it goes. We'll tighten that down. It just needs to be in there kind of snug because don't need a killer or nothing because it's just, yeah, easy to break them. Okay, so anyways, there we go. Got that in. All right, stay tuned. We'll keep moving forward here. All right, on to putting the cam in. So flip it over here. The brass or the copper washer. We'll go ahead and put it on, and like so. And then make sure we reference the outside pointing outward, away from the brake, and we'll just go ahead and slide it up through. We could put grease on it now, but we're going to grease this later, and we don't want a whole lot of grease on it, so we're going to grease this zerk later. So anyway, yeah. Alright, so when the backing plate and brakes all hooked up here and sitting on the bike, it's kind of like this. This looks like it's offset a little bit. So the top, or where the pivot is at, is off to a little bit of an angle here. And straight across is this. But this is at a 90-degree angle between here and like the center of this, like right like that. So if you got this straight, because this mounts in the frame right there, like I was saying. And anyway, we want this lever to be straight down practically and back. We don't want it, because the other option is way up here like this, which is not right. And this is where we want it, because we clearly don't want it way up here, because you'd never be able to put it together and stuff. So obviously it goes right here like this, and then the rod comes back and hooks onto it. We'll be doing all that later when we have it on the bike, but as of right now, this is kind of how it goes. So I'm feeling for that cam, making sure it's straight parallel with this hole up here, because this is the top and the bottom. So then next we put on the lock washer, and then the hex nut. Hex nut has a built-in machined-in washer surface here. Nice colony reproduction here. If focus would work. There we go. This is exactly like the Harley hardware was like back in the day, because they all had their own machine shop, Harley did, and then they would make their own nuts and bolts and stuff. So then we'll put this on for now. We won't tighten it down quite yet. We'll put blue Loctite on it and torque it later, probably around 25 foot-pounds or so. This is a smaller bolt here, so 20, 25, 30 should be suffice for that. There we go. Now that we got that on and somewhat engaged, we don't want to scar it all up in case I got to do some adjusting, but for right now, then we'll move on to putting the pivot pin in here. So, flipped it over here. All right. Alright, so here we go. We're going to put the pivot pin in here. So what we do is we take the cups here, we take the one with the big hole, and we slide it through this like so. It's a really tight fit, so it might take a little bit to get to go on. There it goes. Alright, so then it sticks out like that. And then this part on the bolt here, it has the two flat sides and the curves, of course, like up here. Like that. And it just engages like that. So we'll flip it over so it rests on here, like so. Alright, so now we gotta line them, there it is, line them up like that. So then we put the locking plate on with the grips, of course going towards the backing plate. We're using all Parkerized hardware because that's how it was back in 1940. Lock washer, and then hex nut. It's got a rounded edge, goes outward, and then the flat edge with the built-in machined-in washer there goes towards the item we're tightening down. I'll leave this loose for right now. So I'll probably end up Loctiting it and stuff. There we go. And then radius kind of matches the curve on the outer bracket plate ridge right here. Alright. So let's go forward onto torquing this stuff down. Yeah, then we'll go from there. So stay tuned. Alright, so now we're going to apply some Loctite on here. Some blue Loctite. And torque them down. Now the smaller one there, the reference chart for bolts and nuts is saying 25 for the smaller one, and then about 45 to 50 for this big one. So I'm gonna probably do that, just because it's a bigger one, like that. Yeah. Anyways, so then the book says securely, so I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be dang tight when I tighten it down like that much. So it should be good enough to go. So stay tuned here. Alright, so I'm running this down. I want to make sure this back locking plate here engages good and stays kind of uniform with the backing plate. So as I'm holding this, I'm kind of going to hold the plate down with my one finger and rotate it. There we go. It didn't move, so I think it's ready to start tightening up. Now this Loctite's going to start setting, so I got to hurry up and get this on here. So make sure the machine edge is down again. I'm going to run this on as well. There we go. Once it's tight, I'll just wipe off the extra. Alright, so I'm going to tighten these up. Got a torque wrench here. Going to set it for 25 and then 45 up here, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned here. There we go. We got all torqued down now. I've torqued this down to 45. Nice and tight there. And then we torqued this one down to 25. So when you get this all torqued down, especially the bottom one here, this one needs to move. So you got to make sure this rotates. Yeah, when you tighten it down. So there's really no adjustment other than it just got to, it should move unless you got a part problem. So anyways, and the fix for that, well, it really isn't much of a fix other than you might have to grind on this this a little bit, but these are usually nice reproductions. This is a reproduction one, a nice and parkerized one. But sometimes if it's too long here, you can always put a washer behind it or something too to help engage it. So anyways, let's move on to putting the shoes on. Setting up the shoes here, we're going to put the springs on. So in the print over here, it shows the spring. This one going into the rear shoe, going inward, and then the front shoe is coming out. So we're going to set it up just like that. So let's go ahead and set the ones coming out first. It might be easier. And then the bottom one here. Okay. Then I'll just set it up here. And then this one will be going in. And this one in. There we go. And just spread them apart. There we go. All right, let's get ready to put it on here. All right, so to eliminate some of the metal and metal wear, we're going to put a little bit of some grease on this pivot pin up here. Like so, just so it, has a nice little barrier of protection there. And then we'll get some down in there. Then we want to also touch the cam with a little bit too. We don't want too much because we don't want this stuff getting on our shoes. And when we go to grease that zerk that's on here, the grease that zerk, then it's right there. When we go to grease this zerk, we're going to make sure we don't want to have a whole bunch of extra grease inside there spewing all out, coming out of here, and getting all over the shoes also. So we're going to, make sure we get that nice and lubricated inside there, but not too excessive. All right, so then, we're going to get some down inside those cups. Because the shoe's right inside there. This edge right here goes on the inside of a cup, and the other side looks just like this, and it's going to go in there, and this side here. And so we get some inside here too. All right. So now we just put the shoes on there. All right, let's see if we can get this together here. I'll just pull it apart here, slide it down on the pivot pin here. Falls into the groove on that cup. Comes down and on the cam. All right, there we go. Now we just put the other cup on all the way there, and then we put the pin in. Look at there, we're right together. So then we fold this over. I think I'm gonna leave it loose for right now though, just because, actually no, we can probably fold it over now. All right, so there we go. Got it all together here. So now it's ready to go in the drum and go onto the motorcycle. So that pretty much ends this. This helps lock it in so I can flip it over and work on it. This mounts to the frame when it's bolted up to the frame. And it stays there, so you can pull your interchangeable wheel and stuff all off there, and then so it's nice and convenient to have this lock up here like that. So anyway, that's what it looks like when it's all together. So anyway, this kind of ends this segment for the rear brake. So I hope you enjoyed this. So anyways, later on down the road when we get this on the bike finally, we'll run around the bike and we'll start greasing these zerks. So we won't forget that we covered them all. So we'll kind of like do a a checkup kind of thing and just make sure all the grease strips are filled. A lot of the bolts are all tightened up and all that stuff. So anyway, stay tuned for other videos coming out, and watch this bike get put together eventually here soon. So see you again soon.